Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to share with you some thoughts that I raised in the recent Splinterlands town square. Today there was a town square. These are amazing. You need to check these out. It's where the audience kind of commits ideas, asks questions, talks with one another. Aggie, Weirdbeard, Rond are there holding it down, but there's really a community-driven conversation. Check them out. It's been a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I got to speak today, and I spoke around SPS reaching new price highs because I really believe it will, and also the implications of DEC returning to peg because I really believe it will. And I think there might, although those things are bullish and exciting, and I think they're going to happen, there's an actual downside, believe it or not, that could come during the next bear market if the flywheel works too well. I want to talk about that today in this video, so I hope you'll stick around with me. Before we get into it, though, I need to say shout out to Splintercoach.com. Splintercoach.com, for $5 a month, will track your personalized battle history in Splinterlands. And that will allow you to get two things. One, some entertainment out of your data analysis. And two, some improvement as you recognize, well, I play Kelia that's the summoner I play the most. And these are the monsters I play with it. I am struggling when I play with the Kelp Initiate. What's going on in that context? You can dive deep into the overall, the mana cap, the rule sets to see when that card in particular is losing. And that knowledge can help you be better and then extract more reward for your time and attention. So I think this is both an entertaining tool as well as a rewarding tool. So check out splintercoach.com, $5 a month. Okay. So like I said, there was a town square today. I'm really enjoying this new format. Once a week, once every 2 weeks, there's a town square. Once every 2 weeks, there's a town hall. The town hall is more of a debrief from the developers and the Splinterlands company explaining where they're at and what they're aiming at. This is more of the town square, however, is more of a community-driven conversation, and I enjoy it. Today I got the chance to speak, and I specifically raised a question that I'm going to try and articulate in a more concise manner. You can go listen to it if you want. I'll link the town square in the description. But in a nutshell, it's this. I think DEC is going to return to peg. I think the liquidity pools that exist in Splinterlands are going to become increasingly desirable because the returns, the APR on the DEC BUSD and the DEC DAI, which is right there, are going to grow radically because they are paid in SPS, and SPS price will appreciate when DEC returns to peg. I can unpack all of that, but I'm going to assume you guys understand that basic level. DEC will return to peg for reasons we've talked about on the channel a million times. SPS will appreciate as the flywheel begins to work. And if that is so, what will translate is that this will start producing greater and greater and greater APRs because it's paid in SPS. And so that's amazing. That's a bull market moment. That's going to be exciting to watch. We as SPS holders playing the game of Splinterlands being paid in SPS are going to be super pumped to see 5 cent, 10 cent, 25, $1 for SPS. And I think those are possible targets. Again, do your own research, not financial advice, as everybody always says. But I'm saying that's where my head's at. That's where I believe we actually could reach for a million reasons that I've explained in a million videos. And I want to skip over that today because I want to get to the next part, which is this. The problem or the implication or the hurdle that could come after the bull market. I'm saying we're going to get another bull market. I believe that. And when we go through that, we're going to see price spikes in DEC. We're going to see price spikes in cards. We're going to see price spikes in SPS. And that's going to be so fun to watch. But the downside is that there will be another bear market at some point. This is cyclical. This game's not going anywhere. I'm not saying that that would be the end. I'm actually believing that there would be yet another bull market to follow that bear. I think we are going to go through these cycles in forever because this is crypto until Bitcoin is just so massive. But for the foreseeable future, I'm talking within the next 8 years, this is our future. Up, down, up, down, up, down. And the implications of that in the context of the tokenomics I just mentioned, DEC returning to peg, SPS appreciating, these liquidity pools paid in SPS and their APRs multiplying every time SPS multiplies means that big money, outside money, could desire involvement in this process. Right now at 15% APR, if you consider DAI a safe investment, it's a stable coin. If you consider BUSD a stable coin, and a safe investment, then these should be very appetizing. But even more so when two things happen. When DEC truly establishes itself at peg and stays there for a prolonged period of time, days, weeks, months. And I think that's possible because of a bull market, because of what land's going to do, because of all of the DEC sinks that this game has been implementing already and that is aiming at implementing in the future. New guild buildings, etc., etc., etc. And that's the first part of the puzzle. The second part is that SPS prices will spike, and if they spike, you see a greater APR. And so if that picture plays out as I just illuminated, as I just sort of depicted or suggested is likely to happen, what then translates is massive outside inflows of outside money. 15% APR is juicy. 30% is crazy. 60% is wild on stable coins. That's what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about at 2.5 cent SPS, you're getting 15% on this liquidity pool. And if you consider DEC to have very little downside risk at this moment, then you should think 15% is pretty secure and safe in this context. Add to that, if you think SPS at 2.5 cents is low and it'll easily reach 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents, start putting multipliers on what this APR could look like. That's the future I'm talking about. And if we get to a place where we reach, some of you are super skeptical. You don't think SPS is ever going up. You think I hear people say market cap, market cap. Market cap is the worst argument for why coins can't appreciate to X value. Guys, this is so crypto 101. Please stop just saying market cap. You have to recognize that when the rising tide rises all boats. When you start measuring market cap on SPS and you say it'll never reach X because there's too many tokens, and that would mean market cap of Y, and compared to Bitcoin will never be that big. You're only thinking in the context of SPS spiking in and of itself without any other token spiking. If if Bitcoin stays at $30,000 and SPS goes to $5, okay, I agree that would be really unlikely, really unusual. Even if SPS goes to $1, that's a massive market cap if the rest of the market stays stationary. But if Bitcoin goes to 300,000, I don't really believe that's going to happen, but I'm saying some people are calling for that. And that would translate to a massive market for crypto, which could justify and begin to explain how market cap in SPS could grow radically. So I don't want to fully debate that here. Suffice it to say, I don't accept market cap as a limiter. Again, I want to stay focused here that these liquidity pools could create a problem. What problem could they create? They're going to get juicy because DEC will establish itself as stable. They're going to get juicy because the APRs are going to grow multiplying because SPS price will appreciate. And therefore, if that happens, who comes chasing after 30% APRs? More people. If we reach 10 cent SPS, we now have a 60% APR on a DEC die. Who's going to chase after that? Of course, more and more and more money. Again, these are DAI is stable. DEC, I'm arguing, should be considered a stable in this future of where Splinterlands is aiming. And I believe in that future. You might not, but I really think PEG is happening. And so as that APR grows, external money comes flooding in. What then happens? This is where we start looking at future consequences. Picture bull market scenario. Picture SPS at 20 cents. That would be a multiplier on this APR from the 2.5 cents we're at to imagine a 25 cent SPS. That's a 10x multiplier on this APR, 150% APR on your stable coin investments. That's crazy. That would mean two things: outside money pouring into Splinterlands liquidity pools. It would mean a lot of things. It would mean card price appreciation. It would mean the rewards for your rank play experience are going through the roof, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm saying just stop right here and sit on what it's going to mean for DEC. It'll mean that people need more DEC to get into a desirable liquidity pool. How are they going to do that? Today in the town square, Aggie mentioned that there's about 2 billion, according to his math, 2 billion DEC that's actually spendable, available. The rest of it, there's something like 5 billion total. The other 3 billion are locked up in ways like within liquidity pools and within offline wallets, cold storage wallets, just essentially supporting either Splinterlands or different exchanges, etc. And so there really is only 2 billion available, and we could fly through that. That's only $2 million. That's not anything. That's not anything. And so if we get to a place where that market, if the liquidity pools become so juicy that people from outside want to move in significant ways, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $100,000, and I believe that to be possible, that would translate to a need to buy SPS, because you will not and cannot endure the slippage that would happen if you brought a market buy order of $10,000 to SPS. If there was 100,000, you just couldn't. You'd see a crazy loss on there'd be all kinds of slippage on the buy, and you'd spend way more than you needed to. You'd personally move the market price on DEC, and therefore you would lose value in that trade. But you absolutely can go out and put a market order for 10 grand on SPS, and it wouldn't be that big a deal. And then with that SPS, you can burn it through the burn mechanic of the in-game convert to DEC mechanism. And assuming again that we get to DEC to peg, this is not a loss. So you buy the SPS, you burn it into DEC, and you're minting DEC. And this is where the problem arises. It's conceivable that we create through a bull market, through all of the burn mechanisms and all the staking mechanisms that we've already established and the ones that are there yet to come for DEC, it's conceivable we reach a place where DEC's at peg, SPS prices spiking and flying. It's a bull market moment, and these liquidity pools have become, because of that synergy, that combination of events, the liquidity pools are ridiculously rewarding. Outside money pours in, buying more SPS, spiking it even further, creating a positive mechanic where it's not only growing the liquidity pool rewards, but it's like this exponential parabolic move. Because again, as the SPS price increases from the buying of value being poured into SPS to burn it, to create DEC, to enter the pools, to earn the SPS, that itself drives SPS price up. It's like a self-replicating process. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger because of the energy going into it. And I think that's actually possible for the next bull market. The problem is this: when the bull market wanes, when there's a pause in that buying, when the SPS token reaches some sort of crazy high that we currently think is not possible and never going to happen, there will inevitably be a top. And when there's a top, I don't know where that's going to be, but it'll reach that place and it'll start to fall back down. And as that happens, these people invested in this DEC liquidity pool because they want the SPS rewards will start to receive lower and lower APRs, or extra more and more and more money get put into this pool that produce less and less and less return. That's another thing, because these APRs will go down the more money, liquidity that gets provided into them. So if they get to such a crazy place where people are chasing after 20, 30, 50, 100% APRs on these things, the pool will grow, the rewards will shrink, and at some point people will be disincentivized to hold in that liquidity pool. That becomes new selling pressure on DEC, because they have minted DEC tokens to participate in a DEC DAI pool, but then the DEC is no longer necessary once they no longer want to be in the pool, and that they can't go back from DEC to SPS. That's not how the burn mechanic works. And so they'll need to sell their DEC onto the marketplace. And this could be the translation. I think this is we're going to build up energy in a parabolic move during a next bull market that will translate to a shocking bear market DEC situation. I think when we issued SPS, we created airdrop points, and people who held more DEC got more SPS airdrop points. So people held more DEC. And that in and of itself, because of how algorithmic inflation worked, meant there was more production of DEC. That created stocked shelves with DEC, and subsequently led us to a place where DEC reached, I think it was 65% of its peg value. I'm saying this situation that I've previously described, this bullish argument for why I'm super excited to hold SPS today and DEC today and cards today and play this game now, will one day mean a DEC bear market again, because it's going to lead to the production of crazy amounts of DEC to participate and chase after the returns are going to be available temporarily through the next bull market peak. I don't know if that'll be a 1-year process, a 2-year process, a 6-week process. I don't know. But as we reach parabolic takeoff, because I think we will, this to me seems like the natural consequence of too much exuberance. There's always FOMO on the upside. People buying and chasing after green candles. They want life-changing wealth, but they don't want to invest years in advance. They want to catch a train right before it leaves the station. And they will drive it to places you don't think are possible. I believe that about SPS. And that will have ramifications for liquidity pool returns as well as money being poured into them. And that will mean DC creation in huge numbers. And that is the concern here. I'm trying to draw a comparison between the SPS airdrop and the DC minting that happened through that because of the airdrop points, and what will and could happen through these liquidity pools, because their desirability to be invested within them will grow and grow and grow. And again, that could mean in the following bear market that we see way too much DC just sitting on the shelves. No one wants it. We fall below peg. And although this doesn't mean anything super negative, it will surprise some, because some listeners right now are going to think once we return to peg, we'll stay at peg forever. The only way that's possible is if DC supply stays equal to or less than the demand. That's it. That's how DC stays at peg. The supply of DC needs to be equal to or less than the necessary demand for DC. If that one statement proves untrue, if there ever is too much DC, if there's more DEC than the demand for DEC, we will fall below peg. And I've just told you there's one exciting and juicy and possibly life-changing opportunity that might come, I think will come, out of the mechanics and tokenomics that have already been built by this team. And I think if you see this for what it is, you're going to see short-term exciting opportunity. You're going to look forward to an amazing bull market moment, but you need to already start preparing your mind for the next bear market, because the bull market will be finite. And there will be a future bear market yet again, and then a full future bull market thereafter. So it's like, be prepared for the cyclical nature. Start understanding this now, wrapping your head around this now. If you don't get this, ask questions in the comments section below. Challenge me on places you think I'm wrong. But man, don't make it as simple as market cap says SPS could never reach 20 cents, 50 cents, $1. That argument is so empty. You want to propose that's possible? All I have to say is Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up. And when the total market cap grows, the individual market caps can absolutely get out of control. And FOMO happens over days and weeks and explodes in parabolic moves, not over a slow and logical process. And lastly, SPS absolutely can blow your mind and surprise you with its targets, because even though there's way too many tokens, that's what people say, there's way too many tokens. I would argue that, first of all, tons of them are going to get deleted through this process I already explained. But then secondly, there's going to be a moment in which those who have it to sell it won't, because there'll be so much excitement around what I'm describing that there will be a drying up of selling pressure at the very moment there's the craziest buying pressure. That moment of illogic and absolute exuberance is how coins get from a logical, justifiable, sustainable market cap to something crazy. It's not logical. It's not based on fundamental justifications. It's essentially based on emotions. Drop comments below. Let's talk about this. I want to better understand this for myself. And I just thank you so much for your time and attention. And also make sure you watch the full town square. It was a really fun one. I love this new process, man. Every other week, listening to the community get into it. And you can hear Aggie's response to me on this very topic. If you're interested, I'll tell you very quickly. He said that they already recognize this potential problem, and they're looking to create real world solutions for the application of DC that will enable you to buy actual physical things in real world that would then give utility to DC in a way that currently doesn't exist. So they see this as a potential concern. They're already trying to position themselves in ways to create creative solutions for how we resolve this theoretical problem. Again, thanks so much for everything you guys do. Likes, comments, subscriptions. Have an amazing day. God bless.